Hey, Chris.
Is that how you're starting it?
No.
Some copyright infringement.
Wow, wow, wow. I don't know how to start it.
Well, here, let me ask you this. Is it live, or is it you're recording it to publish later?
Recording, yeah.
So,
Yep.
private, not public?
It's unlisted or whatever. And then
Same
it's
thing, yeah.
scheduled for like tomorrow, so I'm going to mess with it.
Cool. All
Does that
right.
make sense?
Yeah, I'm glad I wasted 30 seconds asking you that.
Hey, that's what this is. So, hey, Chris. What's up? How are you?
I'm here. I got this bad boy. I got the gardens.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. How do you feel about it?
Well, I found out a little bit of trivia yesterday, I guess, in that
Yep.
there's this. I don't even. Yeah, there's a robot here on the side. Apparently, my boy Carter Baldwin
Yeah.
was the inspiration for that robot, which is awesome. I can't wait to see what his next set is after the Wonder Woman vignette being his first set. I'm really proud of that point just now.
Yeah.
First
I mean,
try.
now you guys have known each other for how long? Like pretty long time, right?
Let's see. I guess over 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I met him when we were both attending Penlug meetings in my early years of doing that, which would have been 2010, maybe.
Okay. So it's been a long road.
Yeah.
It's been a long road. I know.
I mean, we haven't been terribly close for much of that.
Mhm.
But then we worked together directly from 2014 to 2016, and then he worked for me for a little while until going to Denmark. So
Right. Yeah. I mean, I have that Wonder Woman set, and I saw that episode when you were talking about that he was that's his first set,
yeah,
and it made me appreciate it a lot more. Like the
don't
stories. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
don't get me wrong. Like I would never have bought that set if it wasn't his. I've got no interest in a vignette. I've got
Yeah.
no interest in Wonder Woman. I've got no interest in paying $40 for like a $20 set. But
Yeah.
like I bought it full price,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I have two of them actually. I got the one I built and a sealed one because I'm gonna try to do a complete sealed Carter collection. I just wanted to build his first set.
Nice. Shout out to Carter Baldwin.
I just hope that he keeps us up to date with which ones are his, so I don't accidentally miss anything.
Right. Um, Now he's been an official he's an official designer now, right?
Yeah, since August of 19,
Right.
I think is when he started, or
What's
September. I think he left us in August and he started working there in September, maybe.
okay. What's the oh yeah, I mean, let me see here. I'm gonna try to share the screen. Where's where's the best way to see his stuff? I mean, this is
Um,
Brothers Brick.
Does it have a link to his Flickr from there? I would think that Brothers Brick is old school enough that if they're gonna mention his name, it'll go to Flickr. Yep,
Oh yeah.
nailed
Wow.
it. Now,
Nailed it.
so since he's a Lego designer, he's got to be like completely silent since starting that job. So you're not going to see. He was not very prolific with posting before he got that job,
Yeah.
and now he's not going to be saying anything online.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, it comes with the territory. I mean, there's a lot going on. But I wish I had that picture from the chat earlier with the robot that was on there. That's in that set.
I think I can get it.
Yeah, you can screen share too, right?
Yeah, I think I can get it
Wow, this stuff is sick.
because I'm pretty sure that was part of the New Elementary article about the set. I don't see where else, unless that was just one of their Discord things. I'm pretty sure that's where that came from.
you know, these like small, it's so much harder to
Yeah,
build
here we go.
smaller, you know? So much harder to build smaller,
Build more gooder.
build more gooder. And I saw with the thing
Hey.
today earlier, hang on, I'll click this on. I saw the thing earlier today where, you know, he had a really good use of the minifigure baby holder.
Yeah, none of us could figure out what that piece was until
My wife
we figured it out, and then it's like, oh, of course it is.
My wife noticed it right away because I asked her after you guys already found out what it was, because I was late to the party and catching that whole thing today, and she picked it up right away.
I
And I'm
can't
like,
say
wow.
I've ever actually held that piece in person.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's sideways, and the fact that it's like spot on iron. What are they called? The Iron Army, something like that, from Exo Force.
Right. I'm not familiar.
It's the bad guys. They're these bad robots from a series from like 2008, and this baby holder on its side is very much the shape of the head of those robots. Which
Right. I mean, building small like that, he does an incredible job with that small building. I mean, you know, it's not easy to build small, for sure, and to make it, you know, or like, you know, mini scale or micro scale, and to make it look like what you're saying that it looks like. But there's a lot of small partsmen coming out.
It said that this robot Scoop is supposed to go with the robot Sweep that was in Ninjago City. I have it, but I honestly cannot remember the robot from Ninjago City. I'd have to go look for it. It'll be over there with the set, but I gotta go. I don't remember that at all.
Oh, there it is. Okay. You should have told me to click it over because I didn't click it over. But yeah, that's the minifigure head. Or I'm sorry, the holder, the minifigure baby holder. So for anybody that's watching what we're doing right now that doesn't know who Bricks on the Dollar or Chris is, what would you provide for a synopsis, for a overlook?
I have been selling on BrickLink since 2009. It's been 135 months. I only know that because of some of the data tracking I do. I happen to look at that today. This is the 135th month right now.
Oh, congratulations.
I have always been grassroots with it. I never had any investment into the business besides what I got out of the business. I've changed the way I do things a lot of times. I've made a few smart maneuvers in it. One of my best of which being the fulfillment service I offered. There's a few BrickLink stores that do fulfillment where you can send your items to them and they put it in their store, and the theory is that it sells faster and potentially for more money by selling through them. Just the same reason you would sell things through Amazon, because it'll sell for more money and it'll sell faster.
Fulfillment by clutch.
Yes,
right?
FBC.
FBC, baby.
Directly a rip on Fulfilled by Amazon. And
I like it.
It allowed me to grow to a much larger size. And now that I'm there, the store, my contribution to the store can keep the store going. I could turn off the fulfillment now and I'd be all right. When before, I couldn't get enough parts to get the store large enough.
Right. Yeah.
There's a timeline that's a big factor to it as well. The time I was really pushing the store wasn't the time in which the store was able to be pushed, as opposed to you don't have to push it all in 2020 to make the store a success, so it seems.
Yeah.
So it's like I was misaligned time-wise with when I was really trying the hardest, and it's all worked out now.
I mean, hard work, time, effort, having a plan and executing the plan. And, I'm sure you had a bunch of speed bumps and road bumps along the way, but I mean, first off, I mean, thanks for coming on and having this conversation with me, because I mean, obviously time is important, and I really appreciate you doing that. But for those that don't know, from my perspective, is, this is a guy that's been in it, 2009, and, had a goal and a vision and is executing the vision. And I find that really inspiring. I'm sure a lot of people do. And it's just this story too, it's the way that our internet is, where there's a library of the breadcrumbs that you've been putting out along your journey. And then, to be able to talk on it, like in retrospect. And, it's a very wild thing, being able to do what you have done. It really wasn't possible in this fashion, say 25 years ago. You know what I mean? And I find that super interesting. And even what we're doing right now, just having a conversation over this thing, I find that super interesting. And, it's, again, I appreciate you being on. The store, you have a physical store in the greater Philadelphia area, right?
Yeah, yes, that's got to be the other good move I made in my career doing this, is opening a retail store against much better judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Opening a retail store in 2017 because I had to.
Right.
And the symbiosis between the retail store and the online store really works out well.
I mean, it didn't, I'm sure it didn't at the beginning. And then you just had to figure it out because, you said it best. I mean, you said grassroots, and that's the way I view it as well, because it is really just, all very DIY, and it's not like, I mean, you know what I mean? So with all that, is it's like, you did a lot of learning as you went, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've taken knowledge from wherever I can. I've tried to look at it as a bigger picture and see the aspects of the business that I can afford to not pay as close attention to in order to achieve the bigger goal. There was once a time where I have to do everything, I have to do it all right, and it was a perfectionist mentality. And I wouldn't say I lost that mentality, but I now know that you can't. It's triage is what I often call it, where I have to make decisions that kind of fly in the face of the perfectionist mentality for the store, but it's going to keep everything moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, in the past couple of years, I know for sure, just by kind of, checking up on you, I guess, is, I mean, you've had tremendous growth in the BrickLink store, just in terms of, I guess, what you have for sale. You went to, I don't know the numbers, but I remember I saw it one month and I'm like, okay, this just the same as when I first saw it, or about, you're obviously putting in the work, keeping it above, keeping it growing. And then I looked back a few months later and I'm like, holy cow, you hit, I don't know if it was 1 million. I don't know if it was 1 million. I don't know if that's the accurate number, but there were other people that I was having a conversation with. I went to Brick Fair in New Jersey, and someone else, that knows you, I went and got in contact with him, and we were talking, and he was actually handing out your card. And I was, I found that pretty cool. And he was like, yeah, he just hit, I think it was the number, it was 1 million. I don't know. You got to correct me if I'm wrong.
It was probably 2 million.
2 million. That's probably what it was. Yeah, 2 million.
It's been a real slow climb with a lot of plateaus as far as the size of the store goes, which in the end doesn't matter. It's your churn rate, Oh, I hate myself for saying things like that. Like I'm
Turn
I
all
am
this.
not that business guy.
Yeah, you are.
Like there's a no, I'm not.
You just slipped up. You just slipped up right here. Heard it here first.
Well, it's the best way to define what I'm trying to get at, the churn rate. But
Yeah, you're right.
there's a local I don't want to call it a company. It's this guy. It's this SEO guru that's from around here, and his family shops at my store, and his kids do soccer at the other end of the building, and you know he's here because he's got this. I don't know the make and model of it, but it's those giant, sometimes personal, sometimes business vans that the entire thing is wrapped
Yeah.
with his face. Like, I don't know how many times larger than 1-to-1 scale it is, but his face
With
is
the
on this
face.
van. He's got logos, he's got websites, he's got hashtags. The whole van is wrapped. It's disgusting. But he's also got billboards in the area, and it's kind of like if you know, you know, and if you don't know, you're just going to keep driving because it's his face, it's the name of the company, and then it's a bunch of acronyms. It's like it's SEO.
Yeah.
So 3 other things. I don't even know what they stand for.
He's putting in the work though.
The other three on there, I don't even know what they stand for. But it's like if you know these 3-letter acronyms, then hit me up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I'm disgusted by that guy. But it's not about the size of the store. It's about the churn rate. Now, the smaller your store is, the more it's about the size of your store, at least in your own head. But the bigger your store is, like my store did not get any larger over the last year. Everything I listed, I sold.
Right.
So I listed half again more than my store is currently at, but my store isn't any larger.
Right.
And I think that's a good goal, and I'm trying to break that number for this year.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be a lofty goal. I mean, only you really know the ins and outs of that, but you're 100% right with it's kind of like treading water. You're just trying to tread water because, there's these 2 numbers, whether it be the lot or your item count. And, the amount of, the spreadsheet that you gave me, I put some work into that spreadsheet. Thanks.
Is it working for you?
Yeah, no, I mean, I obviously have to cater it for my own thing, but it's definitely put my head into a different perspective.
I have to say, I'm no longer going to use the sales tax column because with the inclusion of Pennsylvania from BrickLink, I don't. It's not my money, and it never is my money at this point. The sales tax, so it's as if you don't even have to consider it. The only thing that might factor in is if that number is excluded from the 1099 from PayPal. Because if it's not in there, then we're all good. But if it's in there, then you got to figure out how much of it was sales tax that you never even saw.
Right. Which is something that, again, I've been doing the exercise and kind of going through it. And I've found that it's listed on the PayPal, but you never receive the money. So,
yeah,
I guess you got to kind of figure it out. But, yeah, I mean.
But you wouldn't want all that sales tax to be added on to your gross earnings on PayPal.
No, not at all. I mean, get with your accountant. I mean, that's what I'm doing because I'm going through it right now where it's like, I just want to, going forward, I want to have better systems. You know what I mean? And just like for everything it's like, okay, if this is, a couple years ago, it was just like for laughs and fun. But I mean, if there's something here that I'm going to continue doing and I'm going to continue getting tax paperwork, I might as well get on proper. But, it's just kind of going through it. Getting back to the whole thing about treading water is it's like, basically you're treading water. You are either the water is getting higher or the water is getting lower. And it's kind of like you said it best, like chasing the ghost, right? When you're, when you have the same amount of parts today that you did last year, I would say that's pretty darn good. Pretty darn good. Now, I mean, you have employees, and you have, and that ebbs and flows as well too, I'm sure. But right now, I mean, you must be getting hammered, right? You must be busy as. Is this a really good January for you?
It is. My extrapolated numbers put this at the best month I've ever had.
Well,
I don't know. So I have a number of items sold in a month goal, which is I know how many I want to sell this year, and if you divide that by 12 months, rough average,
mm-hmm.
I know how many parts I need to sell in January to be on track for that. It's 1 out of 12 months, so it can go anywhere.
Right.
But I don't know that I'm going to hit that number. I'd like to, but it's not really up to me. I could list as much as possible, but it's not really up to me if I'm going to sell that within the next 5 days or not.
Yeah, you're right. But I mean, for traffic, you're the one that actually put me on to the ability to see how many new users signed up for the month. And for, when we talked about it on that episode on your show, that's crazy, so there's definitely a lot of activity. I mean, from what I understand too, and just from what it looks like in the climate of Lego, is I think 2021, they're going to have a smashing year again. And I think they have a lot of tricks up their sleeves. I mean, a lot, that thing just popped. We were laughing about it.
I do have some insight. I got this from my buddy who works at the Lego store. And I was talking to him when he dropped this off about how Lego traditionally, if they don't make a certain percentage more in profit this year than the last year, they like to do things drastic at that point and lay off people. And we were talking about that because on building up to it, we were under the assumption that because Lego wasn't able to produce the same quantity that they produced in the year before, then they couldn't have sold as much and couldn't have made as much money. But I don't know how much information gets down to a retail mall employee, but he's under the impression that Lego did a lot better in 2020 than in the previous years. Despite not making as many products, they really burned through all of the products that weren't moving.
Right.
So they sold a ton of old stock.
I mean, you saw that in their in the Lego.com website too. They were putting out gift with GWPs for a price. I saw that a couple times. There was a couple poly bags and the Batman poly bags from way back. Whatever it is. They were flushing inventory. It looked like, and you saw it when you went into like a Target or a Walmart. You go into wherever the Lego is, and that thing is like, it looks like it was food or something. Or toilet paper.
I've said it. I've said it before. This is the first time that the Lego aisle at Walmart looks like every other aisle at Walmart.
Yeah.
I went into Walmart tonight, and realistically, they had 50 sets in the whole aisle. I didn't count them. I bought maybe 20 of them.
Well,
And maybe they had more than 50. I don't know. I bought probably 20 boxes. They're in my car. I don't know. I didn't count them.
There you go.
You don't... See, when you're on my level, you don't count them as they go in the cart. You just put them in the cart, man. You don't even think about how much it costs. If it's a good deal, you buy it.
Do you have any of your old videos up? Like the funny ones, namely the swooping? Your swooping stuff?
They all still exist. They're all marked as private and not public.
You should like remix them and just make a 2021 remix. It's just like a parody. You know what I mean? I think it would be incredible.
I wonder how many times I could reuse that same footage and make money on it.
Well, I mean,
video wise.
Not even just for the sake of making money, but for the sake of goofs.
I know, but I wonder how much could I squeeze out of that footage?
Guys, this is a call to whoever is watching or listening to this. We need somebody that knows how to get crafty with the video editing, because
that's me. I just don't have any software or time.
Yeah, I mean, but dude, I would love to see the old school bricks on the dollar clutch swoop parody back in time machine.
Well, if you look at the later swoops, or if you had looked at the later swoops, I edited those.
Yeah.
So I'm trained in Final Cut Pro.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah. Okay.
But that was years ago. I don't have the software or the time.
Yeah.
Or the desire, really, to do any of that now.
Right.
But I've been buying a lot of Lego that's not on clearance, it's just on sale. Mm-hmm. Because we don't know when Lego is going to have shelves stocked again.
Right.
But the more stock that I can retain in my retail store, the better my retail store looks. It's the same reason why Target won't let you buy the whole shelf depth of a Lego set at Target. It's because if you walk in when they open and you buy all of something, then nobody else who walks in that day is going to find that something if they're looking for that. And it looks bad for Target. Right. I get it. I don't agree with it, but I completely get it. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm doing the same thing. If people come into my retail store and we've got no sets on the shelves, just like any Walmart or Target right now, then they're not really going to come back now, are they?
Right.
Especially with something like Target, you're going to go back because they've got other stuff. It's a whole department store. But you talk about a Lego store. You go to a Lego store, they don't have any Lego. Are you going to go back?
Yeah, for sure.
So I've been buying whatever gets any kind of markdown and putting it back in my store, just so I can have stuff longer than anybody else. And you could argue that they made the sale, they're happy, doesn't really matter what I'm doing.
Yeah. Do you bake sets? I mean, just like, do you just grab sets still to this day to like kind of have them and kind of over time at all?
I don't. I never have.
You never have? Yeah.
It's always been, I'm buying this to part this out as soon as possible, or I'm buying it to price and put on the shelf in my retail store. That's since opening the retail store. But I have never long-term invested in sealed sets.
Right.
Yeah. I don't see the... Again, I get it. It's super low-impact investing where if you have money and you have space, you can buy Lego and then make money.
Right.
Seems simple. Doesn't have to do any work. Super passive. I get it. But I don't feel that is any help to the world in any way.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, when it all boils down to it is, you know my theory about this with the segments of Lego. I mean, there's so many different segments, and you see guys, they're raffling them on the internet, and there's like Lego raffles and all sorts of, there's so many different things going on. It's such a vibrant community, and just a vibrant product. It's been around forever. I don't see it going anywhere. I mean, it's just and there's so many, whether it's just building, people are investing their time, they're investing in what you were saying, passive, if they're just kind of cooking it in a closet or something. I mean, there's just so many different things going on. It's really wild. What do you think about VIDIYO? VIDIYO.
Well, from the teasers we had gotten a few months ago,
Mhm.
it really only could be one thing, and that is a Lego AR TikTok,
Mhm.
for lack of a better term.
Right.
And that's what it is. It's
I
coming
agree.
out in March, and I don't. I think we proposed several different things that it could be on building up to it. I'd have to watch that one again to see who said what and how correct or close to correct it was.
Mhm.
But I think we pretty much guessed it's going to be AR based like Hidden Side, which it is.
Mhm.
And you get to make music videos, which you do.
Right.
And it uses the music from UMG because that's we've known that it was a partnership with UMG for almost a year now. But they announced partnerships with all kinds of companies years in advance, and then maybe you see something, maybe you don't. What we don't know yet is what the product lineup looks like.
Right.
Because right now all we've seen is the slew of different printed tiles and the little stage where you can stick all the tiles and stick the alpaca dude.
Yeah. That guy looks cool though. Super cool.
Yeah, sure. I'm just wondering, is it gonna be one set that's the stage, the alpaca figure, and some tiles, and then they have a bunch of supplementary tile booster sets, kind of like Dots did, kind of like Nexonites did.
Mhm.
Who else did that? I guess it was just Nexonites that I'm thinking of, where they had the blind bag shields that you could buy.
Right.
I don't
Mm.
know if there's any other sets. I don't know if there's alternative stages, maybe, with other figures. But my favorite part of the press release is just the due diligence hopefulness that they put into it. Like, I don't remember word for word what it was, but they said that they've got much more planned and they're excited to roll out new features. It's like if you can't not say that. You can't
Yeah.
say here's the thing, we're never going to update it.
I
But
mean,
that might be what happens.
the the whole story that I get from it is you're scanning dots basically, right? And then it's giving you content. And then I think you're just going to be able to unlock content or, whatever the content is, whether it's a song or a beat or a whatever it is. I don't know, it's very interesting to me. The way that Lego continues to try to keep involved in like current times. I mean, it's talked about as like a minifigure TikTok or something to that effect, but it's more power to them. I mean, kids love TikTok, and there's a
Yeah,
lot.
you can't
Of
stop
content.
trying.
Yeah,
I've been described as that, where I keep trying different
hmm
things and many of them don't work, but I keep trying.
yeah. That's what I appreciate about you too, and I think a lot of people appreciate that about you. Um, this video thing's going to be vid. How do you pronounce it? VIDIYO, right? With the YO at the end. VIDIYO.
I don't know, is that good branding or is that bad branding where it's almost a very common word, but it's spelled different, but it's
Yeah.
said the same?
Well, that goes, I think, with the marketing because even in the promo clip, it looks like a kind of like a social media looking type thing.
Well, they said there's a network for children to share their videos with
Yeah,
each other,
right. I think
and
it's pretty cool.
they made sure to mention how safe and secure it was.
Of course, it's safe. Only the safest. Only the safest. I mean, it's going to be interesting. I mean, as you know, I have a kid, and we got into the hidden side AR stuff. It was a little bit too much for him because he was obviously younger. But we will probably get into this. We got into the Lego Mario stuff, which he really likes. And, I can see the appeal to that because, he's bouncing around, jumping around, and this thing, his big thing is when you let Mario like lay down for a while, he starts sleeping, and that cracked him up. I mean,
Yeah. The Mario stuff's on sale at Walmart, but I didn't buy any because I think it's past its prime.
mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter if they put out more sets this year or not to accompany the old ones. The people who were interested in it were early adopters. I don't think people are going to get into it now. And they sure as hell don't want the same 4 clearanced boosters from my store, especially if they don't have the starter set.
Yeah. Well, I think one big thing about it is there's key pieces in there if you want to just like expand your stage. I mean, you could just bricklink that, I guess. But
well, you're not doing anything without the starter Mario.
Yeah, those were really hard to get when they first came out. We got our hands on one, and then I wanted to get my hands on another one to kind of just play around with, and couldn't find it for a while. It took me like 3 weeks to finally get one.
Yeah, and now they're everywhere because everyone who wanted them bought them.
Yep. And then they were probably just trying to meet a massive demand that, it's just like ebb and flow. It was like a bottleneck, and then the bottleneck got fixed and everyone moved on to something else, maybe, or whatever the story is. It's part of the thing, I mean, you've been seeing this. So you've been seeing this since 2009. You've obviously been a Lego fan for a really long time. Obviously, prior to that, stumbled onto BrickLink. What do you see from what you know from the past 10, 11 years? And what do you think? Where do you think things are going? Because obviously, Lego's in a good place now, if not better than when you got involved. Where do you see it going?
Well, I don't think BrickLink is anywhere near as easy now as it was before. And it's, again, me being on my own timeline that is not the optimal timeline for doing what I'm doing, in that you could buy Lego sets very easily on discount and part them out in the early years of me being on BrickLink. It was everywhere. The discounts were abound, and the part out values were all higher, as far as I can remember.
Right.
There's also a lot fewer sellers on BrickLink at the time. And I can't say that I remember the big stores back then. They're still on BrickLink, but they're not the big stores anymore. There's a lot of new stores that came up that are a lot bigger now. I wouldn't want to be parting out new sets today versus when I was parting out new sets in 2012. But I wish that I had been able to get the store larger back then to get through the hump that was 2015 through 2018, let's say.
Okay.
Because now that I know that Lego is a lot more plentiful in the early 2010s, it would have been helpful to been able to invest more into BrickLink then versus investing it into BrickLink now.
Okay.
I think the dollar would have gone farther with how many sellers there were, how easy it was to buy Lego, and I'm not sure what the registration rate was on BrickLink back then, or if an order is placed every second right now on BrickLink, like how often was an order placed on BrickLink 10 years ago?
Right.
might be one a minute. I don't know what the increase has been since then.
Right. I got to tell you, it's super interesting hearing your perspective on it, because it's, obviously I spend a little bit of time trying to research and figure out, and obviously operating a BrickLink store myself, moderately small. It's because I often wonder, like, where does this go? And we've had this conversation on your show, at least once or twice. Where does this go? Where do we go from here? I obviously wanted to try new things. That's what this is. And I, had that conversation with you about getting involved on Brick Owl. And
I noticed that bricksblurb, a LEGO BrickLink podcast, does not say Brick Owl on it.
Well, I kind of just whipped this thing together. I don't have any skills. I have very minimal skills in Adobe, in technology. Like I'm not very skilled in any of this. I'm kind of, this is all DIY here.
You did more than I have done.
You see, you gotta be focused. I'm just focused out here. It's
sure if I Googled it, I could figure it out, but I'm not even there.
That's what it is. I mean, the learning curve. So basically, for something that would take someone that knows what they're doing, if it takes them 10 minutes, it takes me probably about a day. And that's where I'm at right now. Talk to me a year from now, I'll probably be a little bit more, but it's just, I'm juggling too many things. I mean, the deal. I mean, you juggle so many things. I'm sure you've got, delegations, and keep an eye on this. And I'm sure there's a lot of things going on.
I'll tell you that the heaviest ball to juggle right now is that there's some retail property near me that's opened up, and I'd really like to go see it this week or very soon. And
what's the plan for it?
What?
You want to see it's opening up next to you, like in the same place?
No. There's retail space in a shopping center near me.
Mm-hmm.
That I would very much like to move into.
Okay.
Provided everything lines up.
Wow.
But I have to go inspect it and ask a whole bunch of questions. I'm not saying I'm moving.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go look at a space.
Well, I mean, go down, kick the tire, and see what it smells like. You know me. I mean, put your hands on it, taste it. I mean, you know what to do. You're a smart guy. You probably go in there and ask all the questions. Get yourself figured out. And if it works, it works. And golly, man, I hope it works out for you. That's pretty exciting. Like, it's in a legitimate. Like, what else is in the strip mall?
Well, I put a lot of thought into where I would like the store to be. I don't want it to be in a mall. So you kind of left to a strip mall.
Yeah, plaza.
And and I thought, what else would I want it to be in that strip? Because you have some choices. Not all strips are the same. Mm-hmm. You could consider where I am right now to be a strip.
Right.
But
it's
you can't compare it. Yeah, it's very industrial. You can't compare it to... It's industrial, but it's street-facing with a parking lot. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's got a grocery store in it, which is something I wanted. I want one of those in there. It's got, I don't know, 20% vacancy right now or so. There's a number of empty spots in there. There's a few restaurants in there. There's a GameStop. I don't know how long they're going to last, but there's a GameStop in there.
GameStops do pretty well, it seems, though. I don't know. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I mean, I don't see really GameStops closing. Have you seen GameStops closing around you?
I don't think I've seen GameStops. I don't. Not that they're not there. I have no need, so I don't go.
How big's the spot?
There's 2 vacancies right next to each other, and I'd like to look at both of them. I don't know what the square footage is. They don't put that on the sign on outside. They just put, "Call this dude."
Yeah.
And So I'm going to call that dude, and I'm going to go look at him. The bigger the two seems like it might be right for me.
Mm.
The problem right now is that I could rent more space in the warehouse that I'm in right now if I wanted more space for the BrickLink store.
Mm.
The retail store is full. There's nowhere else to rent for that in the same building.
Yeah.
So, and I pay a very cheap rate where I'm at. It's a very awful place, but I could get more warehouse space. I can't get any more retail space, which means if I'm moving everything into a retail spot, I'm doing it for the additional retail space, not for the additional warehouse space, because I could already have that.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me wonder, what else would I do with more retail space? If I'm paying for more retail space, am I gonna get more retail customers? And then I guess the real question is, what would I do to get more customers in the store? And if I knew the answer to that, why am I not doing it already?
Right. We had talked about this, I think, on your show, one of those episodes. I was on for 3 episodes, so back to that. 159, 163, and 165. I wrote them down for reference for anyone that But I think we talked about it with having a second location, or maybe we didn't. Maybe you and I just talked about it. Maybe we talked about just have you considered a second location? So I mean, I find it so strange, just like in life, like when you think about something, like just like when you hear a new word, you start hearing that word all the time. You've never heard it before in your entire life, and you hear it once. I heard one time au pair, which is, I guess it's like it's a fancy nanny, I guess.
Yeah.
And I never heard that until I was in my early 30s, and I kept on hearing it over and over. So it's like I feel like your brain wills things into existence, and I'm sure you can attest to it. It's going to end up happening because it's in your mind. You know what I mean? Like you're going to end up pulling it off, or just going and poking around and learn something about the process that you might not have known, and all of that. So it's.
Yeah, one of the problems is that right now my retail store is open 3 days a week, and I've gotten very comfortable with that. Yeah. I don't know that a strip is going to allow a store to be open 3 days a week.
Yeah.
You could counter argument with, well, right now it's open no days a week because it's vacant.
Yeah. Well, you were having conversations with a guy in about a mall once too, right? You were talking about getting into a mall, or there was conversation.
Oh, somebody pitched me to have a temporary mall store for fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So I don't have anywhere near enough inventory to have 2 well-stocked stores. Mm. I don't know that I ever will. Because if you're selling, it's about the supply chain. But if you're selling enough stuff, you're never going to have enough stuff to have 2 stores worth of stuff. But if you're getting it direct, then yeah, of course, you can have as many stores as you want. But the way that we're getting Lego,
exactly,
we get what we get, and we have one really good selection of a store. If you were to cut what I have in half, you'd have 2 sparse stores.
Right.
And I wouldn't want that.
Do you have a crafty plan? Like, let's just say, for example, the deal is way too good to pass up, and then you just jump on the deal. Do you have a plan? Because, I mean, obviously, it's a whole different animal than, operating a BrickLink store and kind of what your bread and butter for a while was. Now that you've been into the retail, forward-facing retail, you've obviously picked up a lot of ways to do it right. How would you do that? Where it's basically now you're in a strip mall, Bricks on the Dollar strip mall with a sign in the front.
Well, it's
next to GameStop.
Everything's going to be there. It'll all be in one place. So it'll be the online store in one half of it, and then the retail store in the other half of it.
So you're talking about moving out?
Yeah, everything would go to a new spot.
Oh, okay. So that's exciting.
If I just wanted a retail store for the retail store, I could get many smaller locations.
Yeah.
But
that's interesting.
I don't want them in two different places. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't want the retail store to bite off more than they can chew.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can be open 3 days a week. I don't know what their day requirements are. I don't know what their hour requirements are. They might have it where you got to be open 7 days a week unless it's religious reasons like Chick-fil-A, something like that. Mm-hmm. And then you have to be open these hours per day minimum every day. In which case I won't do it. Like I won't move. Not to that spot at least. But maybe they'll have day requirements, but not hour requirements, and I'll just be open 1 hour a day, 4 days a week, and then
get soft.
Yeah, soft. Noon to 1, Monday through Thursday. Be there, be square.
You're getting soft. You're gonna be like those guys next door that are never open.
I don't see any reason to be open 7 days a week.
Yeah, I mean, so you're there three days a week. You're open 3 days a week now, right? Yeah. I'm gonna pop down there sometime. I gotta do it within the next month, I think. When I talked to you last, did you see the KOP Lego store, the new location? I mean, I guess it's new-ish now.
I haven't been there. This came from there.
Yeah.
But I haven't been there.
Yeah, I've been.
I haven't been to a Lego store since I opened my Lego store. To be honest.
You know, that's the life of luxury, you know? You got that luxurious lifestyle, Lego luxury lifestyle.
Well, it's not so much I have all the Lego I could want. It's that I don't have any time to leave, and they share the same hours as me, pretty much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places I can't go because I'm open the same hours they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you when the store is open, you are always there, right? Or
yeah.
Not, yeah. Okay.
Yep, I'm there 7 days a week.
Yeah.
I work the counter on Friday and Sunday, and part of Saturday. I have somebody for the rest of Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then I work in the back Monday through Thursday, and then the majority of Saturday. Mm-hmm. And before and after, the store is open every day.
Right. When's the last time you took a vacation?
How long's the store been open?
What about a vacation in your future? You have that maybe as a goal?
I don't know.
No.
I should have that as a goal, but I'd need to have the right people running things. Mm-hmm. It's big. It's not big enough where I'm just some looming entity that owns the thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're owner-operator.
Yeah. Someday I guess I'd like to be that I heard the boss is coming by next week.
Make sure the lanes are swept. Sweep those lanes, baby.
I guess someday I'd like to be at that point.
Yeah.
That's the goal, right? What are the goals? You are hands off and you collect money, or you're just gonna sell the business. Those are the goals, right? The goal isn't to work it yourself forever.
Yeah. I would say that. You know, when you think of, you know, just being a future thought person, I mean, these are thoughts that go through my mind, you know, without thinking them. You know, like, where is this going? What am I doing? But I think you owe it to yourself for a vacation sometime. Not even a crazy one. You know, you don't have to go to Tahiti or whatever. You know what I mean? Just, you know. I mean, I think if anything, on your luxurious lifestyle of 3 days a week or whatever, you know, in the past 6 months, that would have probably been a good time. But I'm sure it's just so busy. Like the BrickLink thing, I don't think I don't think people realize what it is sometimes. You know, when it's like, okay, BrickLink YouTubers, and you say it best when it's like all the glory is being shown in this highly edited, wonderfully produced, visually aesthetic video, and you know, it's just too much. And you know, the nitty gritty of it is, it's like I didn't realize that it would be so time consuming, and it's, I don't want to say like there's not an easy way to do it, but there's no shortcuts really, you know, and it's a grind for sure. I mean, you know it as good as
I felt the grind today. I think I uploaded 20,000 parts today, and it was a lot. It was all fulfillment.
Yep.
So none of it was mine, but it was a lot of walking back and forth. You open the file and it's like, okay, this one's 128 lots. Okay, put 128 lots away. Open the next file. All right, cool. This one's only 38 lots. Sweet. High quantities, low variety on that batch. All right, done. Super quick. Open the next one. 218 lots. Okay, going to 218 locations. So, some of them are new, some of them are existing. It's I definitely felt the grind today, but I felt great when it was over and I knew how much I had done.
Yeah,
it was a great feeling, that accomplishment.
It's good. It keeps you going. I mean, I've got after this, I've got like 112 lot order, something like that. It's a bazillion pieces. These things, I like them like the challenge, and I've actually started like timing myself. Just not necessarily like if I have a stint of time where I don't have to, you know, I'm not being interrupted. My time is terrible though, because it's just, you know, like you said, I mean, perfectionist type stuff that I end up getting involved in, or like tinkering around and moving things around when I shouldn't be, you know, and just focus on just packing the order. You know, it's a good feeling. I think, you know, just, you know, we got here from what it was, why, you know, like it's a lot of work. You know what I mean? It's a lot of work, and it's like nobody ever talks about it. Nobody ever talks about it. It's all the glory, the guts and the glory, and the windfalls. You know, like what would you say is like the number one thing that you wish that you knew year 1 and 2 of your BrickLink store that you know now? Obviously, it's just like second nature. Like, what would you tell a guy today that's like, hey, I'm gonna give this thing a whack. I'm gonna give this thing a whack. In the days of old ass clutch, you got to go through the archives.
In my brain, yeah. That's a great question. I want to say that don't underestimate the appeal of used parts.
You know what? Well said, because forever you never talked really about used parts. You were just accumulating sets and parting out multiples.
It's easy to get sets. It's easy to part out sets. They all have inventories. There's no question, unless it's incorrectly inventoried, which also happens. And I would not recommend used parts to anyone who's not up to the challenge, because it is infinitely more work. You can make mistakes a lot more easily. And there's no guarantees with used parts. Used parts are not for anyone under the expert level. Yeah, just I agree. The colors, the variants, the just the variety in general. If you're not, and the quality of them too, like how many are you gonna throw away? As much as it pains you to throw them away, they're not good enough, and holding on to them doesn't make any sense either. Just throw them away and keep moving. But if you're not knowledgeable enough, you'll never be able to find success in used parts. Because you're just going to keep making mistakes and keep getting called out on it and frustrated and give up.
I mean, what got you through it? Because obviously you haven't always been dealing with used parts. This is something that you've dealt with,
I dealt with used parts before I got into new parts.
Okay. Yep,
and once I got into new parts, I stopped dealing in used parts for a few years. And I only really got back into used parts a little bit before I opened the retail store.
Okay.
I just thought I can get such better quantities. Everything's pristine.
Mm-hmm. Minimal headaches.
Yeah. The same reason that people would rather buy a new Lego set than a used Lego set, people would rather buy new parts on BrickLink than used parts on BrickLink. There's no question.
Right.
You're getting what you're paying for. You're getting what you're expecting.
But you're stuck to the bubble of the parts that are available currently, or in the past couple years, and that proves your point. Where, the expert level, it's I wouldn't consider myself expert level by any means, and my story about used parts. I've got a couple bins of used parts. They're just they've been the same thing that they've been for the past year. So, I mean, I have a goal in 2022. I'm making it up right now as I'm going, but I have a goal in 2022 to actually, dabble into the used game.
That's not what New Year's resolution means.
That's what it's a goal. It's a goal because it's obviously, you talk about it. It's just, I think it's the natural progression of things. I really do. I haven't done really anything in the past month as for like uploading or any of that. I've been very, I don't know what the term is, just kind of coasting. I didn't really want to push in January. I didn't really want to push in the end of December. Just kind of taking it as, orders still every day. And just kind of taking it as it goes. But I think maybe in the next few months, I have a couple ideas on making some pushes, and I'm going to track the data, and I'm inspired with that, that spreadsheet that you have been working on since the dark ages. But, it's, it's going to be fun. Also, I want to be able to come up with something. I had this conversation with you is I want to be able to, take a percentage of the revenue on BrickLink sales and put it into something, because it's just the same thing with like the longevity of time. I mean, in our conversation today, we've talked about your span of, 10 years and, all these things and everything in retrospect, right? They always say like hindsight's 50-50, but you think about it for today where it's like, if I took 3% or 2% or just even a small percent and just put it into something and just basically, documented the journey, I think we'd all be surprised as to what happens, So have you thought about any of that with the crypto that we talked about before, crypto or any of that stuff?
Not really. No.
Yeah. I mean, you're probably been busy.
You said you haven't been pushing. I've been pushing every day.
Yeah.
I like what I saw in 2020,
mm-hmm.
and I want to try to improve on that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have, I want to say I've sold more every year than the year before, but it's not true because just some years that people aren't buying, and some years people are buying, and there's other factors as well, like other bigger stores coming out of nowhere that weren't there the year before.
Right.
Taking a market share.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw what 2020 was like, and I want to see if I can beat that in 2021.
So now you're on chasing the ghost heavy.
I'm chased. I just ate the fruit or the big white dot or whatever, and now I'm chasing all the ghosts. What does Pac-Man eat that flips the script? Is
The
it just
Powerball.
is it just the bigger white dot, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
power dot.
They gave it
Power.
a name.
I don't know. Power dot.
It's just like there's little ones and then there's the big ones.
That's the
I don't
power
know.
dot, baby. I mean, dude, more power to you, because really, it's so interesting, like having these conversations that kind of give me like a peek into like what's going on without ever have meeting you face to face. So within this next month or so, I'll take you out for a meal or something, and we could just kind of just put it all together. But I got to tell you, I really appreciate your time.
If you make it a Monday through Thursday, I'm not chained to the counter. So
Monday through Thursday, I could pull one off. I mean, I'll let you know.
It's up to you, but
Yeah, no,
you said that you'll have to make it down when I'm open, but I'm there 7 days a week.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to be able to poke around and just, like we talk about all these things where sometimes I just have to kind of visualize it in my head. But I mean, I have a lot of questions about that whole fulfillment thing, because it sounds like I get it. Like I'm kind of smart enough to at least get it, but I just don't get it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like, okay, the flower looks like this and this is how it grows. I don't, it's one of those things.
The fulfillment is a lot less technical than people might think it is.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously have a system that you've created over time or whatever, but is what it is.
I've been actually moving away from fulfillment a little bit to increase my costs. I've been buying people out lately.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the consigners who gave me a batch once or twice, and it has been a couple years, and they've just been making less and less money every month as their parts sell.
Mm-hmm.
I've been buying out what's left of the ones where it's fairly straightforward to do so because they don't have that much left. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like their last payment, and I don't even know if I haven't told them, but it kind of should be obvious when you get a payment that's 10, 15 times the previous month, and then no payment the month after that. It's like, oh, I guess I'm done here.
Right.
But I've been buying people out to increase my costs, and I'm trying to keep my costs at an even level throughout 2021. By doing that, eventually I'll get to a point where the store's all mine again.
Right.
I'm still accepting fulfillment from the people who have been regularly sending things in, but I took down the mentions of the service. I don't know that I'm accepting anybody brand new at this point.
Right. So
it was a means to get to where I am now.
Right.
It was never supposed to be a thing that ended,
Mm-hmm.
but I've seen how it works, and I've seen where it's gotten me, and I know where I can go from here.
Right. Yep. Yeah, you're a guy similar to me. You've got to taste it, and you definitely got that taste. And that, like I said, I don't even know. Like I'm 10 years behind you, man. 10 years behind you, and just kind of figuring it out as I go. But yeah, I mean, I really appreciate you kind of coming in, spending the time. This is episode 1 of, what do you think of this name, bricksblurb? It's just another play on words. What do you think of that?
It sounds like how the children these days would say bird.
Yeah.
They'll just say it dumb like that on purpose. Not I know what a blurb is, but
Yeah.
They might call a bird a blurb and then laugh about it with their friends for 15 minutes until they their attention span revolves, and then they're like, "Oh, what's over there now?" So it sounds like a dumb way of saying bricksbird, but it really depends on your audience. I get it.
Bird. Bird's the blurb. I mean, it's fun. This whole thing is really just, I've told you this before, and I'll say it again. I feel like when I'm when I think about things lately, I feel like there's been a love story of lost opportunity. And, you know, if you talk to me 10 years ago and you were saying, hey, listen, you know, buy Lego sets and part them out, I would look at you like you have 5 heads, because you don't, you know, I don't understand it. Not like, okay, take this, do this, this is the output, this is the result. Not so much that, but it's just like, you're wasting your time. You talk to me today, and I'll tell you 100% it's not a waste of time. You get out what you put in. And I also feel like even, you know, the small conversations I've had with you about crypto, sure, there's a lot of talk and all this stuff about crypto and all this, but the thing that is there is the history and the record. And then everything else is speculation or whatever it is. But it's the same thing when people talk about stock market or this market or that market. We're in a market. We are operators in the market. We're able to watch and kind of see how things go, see the history, see the present. You know, you're obviously very, very on the push mode, which is great news. And I think that that's 100%, you know, the natural order of things for right now. And I feel like, again, you know, lost opportunity. You know, you've talked about it before where it's like early in your early days, you wish that you had more to invest. You know, that's one of the, I guess, not a regret, or that's one of the things that you probably feel that you missed on. If you can multiply that by like 5 or 10, you know, that's why I say it's like love story of lost opportunity. You know, that's what it feels like.
And that's why you can't worry too much about what you didn't do in the past. That's why I'm worrying right now about how am I going to improve 2021.
Exactly.
Look to the future. Sure, I would have loved to bought a lot more Lego in 2011, 2012 when it was cheap and plentiful and the part out values were high. You could, like, doesn't go under 2.0 back then. Like, nothing did.
Right.
And getting a 3.0 or a 4.0 was pretty common.
Yeah.
And now it's got to be half price to get that 3.0. Which you're not going to find. You're not finding a lot of half price stuff when there's not a lot of stuff on the shelf in the first place.
Right. You know what I find interesting right now, you know, in terms of that is all these, like, I don't know if that's even the proper term, but like the Lego bricklinkers of today, and we've talked about it, we've touched on it, where it's like the content is phenomenal, right? But it's like sometimes you look at the store and you're like, wow, there's really not anything, there's no sales here. I don't understand what's going on. And you can look at their stores based on the numbers and you're like, okay, that's a lot of parts. That's a minimal amount of lots. It's like, why aren't they getting sales? Why aren't they getting orders? And so, I mean, there's obviously a lot of things to that, but I think the market is very vibrant. I think it's not going anywhere. I think it's going to continue to improve. Ninjago Gardens, definitely on my want list. If you run into another one, I'll definitely pick one up from you.
I don't know that's going to happen, but you'll never get a better price than I got on this. I'll never get a better price than I got on this. So
you're a lucky man.
This is the one for me to keep.
Yeah, and you still have the Apocalypseburg too, right?
Yeah, which I don't think I'm building that, but that's back here.
Right. I had parted a couple of those out, and just
we one of my consigners parted out 5 or so of them in my BrickLink store, and I'm sure I still have some parts from it, but you either part stuff out or you keep it long term.
Hang on, your consigner parted it out in your brick. So did he give you 5 sets and you parted it out?
No, he sorted it.
Oh, you did it.
Yeah.
Oh, and so in just separate bags, you just get a bunch of.
Yeah, it was like most of my fulfillment batches. It just happened to be I knew what set it was and how many it was. Like
right.
I don't think he sent me a file. I think it was like I parted out 5 of this set. You can make the file for that easy enough. And here's everything bagged.
I'd have to see it in person because it's like I don't know. I don't have any idea. Maybe next week. I'm not sure. What are you doing next week? You busy?
Every day.
Every day, baby. That's the right idea. That's the right idea. I like that answer.
I don't think there's anything that would take me away from the store next week. I don't have any appointments or anything like that.
How are you seeing things down there, just like in the climate with your retail customers coming in and stuff like that? How's everything? Like, what's the climate feel like physical climate in like your neck of the woods?
I've been getting a lot of new customers lately. People
Well,
who self-proclaimed just got back into Lego
mm-hmm,
and they're buying stuff up because
mm-hmm,
you can't really buy it anywhere, and especially the older stuff that you definitely can't find anywhere.
mm-hmm,
But I have a lot of regulars. I would say at least half of my customers over a weekend are people that were in last weekend and will be in next weekend,
mm-hmm.
which is nice. I'm perfectly fine with if the store is busy for 3 days with regular customers who come in every weekend and buy something, anything. That's fine. I'm
Right,
not. I think the best and worst thing that could happen is that it gets so busy in the 3 days that I have to add a fourth day.
right. Yeah. I mean, tough life. I mean,
Well, that's I I'd have to have more help there because you take you shift another day to retail for me from online, and that's going to make the online suffer.
mhm. we should make a like a wanted ad parody commercial, and I'll run it on this show for you for like help wanted, always help wanted.
Always, always.
I mean,
I've
did
got
you?
I've got 4 order pullers now, and
Oh wow.
it's not quite enough.
So order pullers, hit up Bricks on the Dollar. Like this video and subscribe, and then hit me up. Hit me up for a job, and I'll screen for you. Remember, wrote like that write up for you, where it's like, put this out on like Craigslist or whatever. I was super pumped about it too, because I'm like, all right, let's get this guy some people rolling in, and then you could just filter them yourself. If you get like, I don't know, 50 of them, you could just pick 2 and just be like, all right, let's have an interview. It's kind of like going fishing at the nightclub. You talk to 100 and maybe one will talk back to you or something and be right.
Yeah, today my newest order puller is pretty slow,
Yeah.
and today
Not an order
I
puller.
had you popped into my brain today because I was like, if I had brought on like 3 order pullers at once and said only one of you is going to keep this job,
Mm-hmm.
then this one would be out and it'd be completely fair.
Yeah. 100%. Dude, I think that's the move, man. You got to use that move. And especially if we have this bang up parody video, right? Because you've got all the editing chops needed for it. And you will have a constant supply of fresh order pullers. And may the best one win, like gladiators, fight to the death. I think it'll be a fun little experiment, you know?
Well, employees is an expense that I need to be really careful with.
Yeah.
You could also look at it like you're not going to get anywhere without bringing on more employees, and I understand that too. But
Quality.
yeah, rent is rent. That's what it costs. Here's how it changes. It's ever flowing like time. Employees drastically range with what you get out of the same static amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
And that means I got to make the right decisions with employees.
Yeah. I mean, you have, so, all right, break it down to me. You said 4th order puller. So your other 3, out of those 3, you probably have one that's been around for a long time. Maybe 2.
The other 3 have all been around
Long time.
for 2+ years.
Yeah. So my advice for the new guy. I mean, is he slow because like slow or just kind of bleeding out time, not moving with a purpose, or like still trying to figure it out?
I think he's still trying to figure it out.
I mean, it's a lot to take in, dude.
Like
You know what I mean? I'm
yeah,
sure.
it is. I think he's overthinking a lot of it.
Mhm.
It's just counting,
Mhm.
and I wasn't aware that I was teaching people how to count.
Yeah.
I thought that it's a prerequisite, right?
Mhm.
Counting, being alive. You know? But if the number is like over 50, like it kind of overwhelms him.
Okay.
Not in like a he's never gonna make it in this world way,
Yeah.
but just his his like attentiveness to time management kind of goes out the window when he knows he's got this big number to count.
Mm.
Where you could just count it and then
Yeah.
move on. But
Right.
it's like he's got to psych himself up for this thing, and he winds up spending too much time.
If
He's only been there a week,
right.
so
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll get better.
Yeah, it's just like everything else. I mean, you got a bunch of, you're walking into this place that looks like it's got a bazillion drawers or whatever. There's people that have been there forever, and it's like there's a lot of things to adjust to. As long as it's one of these things. It's like sometimes you don't need certain things that you think you need in like an employee. I've spent time managing and training sales professionals for pretty much my entire adult career life, and what I find is you just need those things that you can't necessarily teach. And you know what they are. It's like certain characters and certain characteristics. Like, okay, this guy moves with a purpose. You know what I mean? That's not something that you just kind of learn. It's adapted just by the person's life, like who they were in their life and like
Yeah.
things like that.
And every time I think that they're moving too slow, I realize this isn't their business.
He's only been there a week.
No. That this isn't their business. This is your business.
Right.
And it's like you could either pay him to work at this pace that he's working at, or you could do it yourself, which you don't have time for. This is just how employees work.
So you
have to you set this level of expectation for him where it's like it's less than you'd expect out of yourself,
mm-hmm.
but it's fine because you can never expect as much as you expect out of yourself.
Right. But I mean, you track. So here's the benefit: is you got 4 and you need more, and you track their I guess their productivity in some sort of metric, right?
The thing I track with them is what percentage of the orders that each of them pulled are reported in error by the customer.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the only thing. It's not how many parts, it's not how many lots,
Okay.
it's not how many. Well, it is how many orders, but it's how many orders where a customer said this was short.
If there's 4 of them, how do they pick which order they're going to pull? Or is it delegated?
They don't. All 4 don't work at the same time.
Oh, okay. Oh, never mind. I'm
The most I've had working at once is 3, and that's just when it happens.
Is there a way to calculate their time pulling orders to the amount of orders or like the size in some easy way, and basically hold a contest that whoever does the best, they get some quality time with you on a boat with a with a guy playing a violin or something?
Well, I know how much time they worked because I know what I paid them.
Right.
And I know how many orders they each pulled
Mm-hmm.
in that amount of time. I don't track how many parts or how many lots any of the orders that they pulled were. I could see them if they're in the last 6 months on BrickLink, but I don't. I thought about the idea of like paying for order pulling by like the part or by the lot or something like that, but it's just easier to pay by time.
Yeah, for sure. for sure, because all that other stuff gets real complex. I just wonder if there's a quick and dirty way to basically where it's measurable and everyone involved can see how it's measured and have an incentive to not be the last guy. You know what I mean? Like if you're, so instead of like, okay, Johnny's the best order puller and he's always the best order puller, he's probably always going to be the best order puller. So if there's 4, just don't be the weakest link, basically. And then also, when you have new people coming in, they're going to automatically be the weakest link because of the learning curve, but they would, in some way, shape, or form, right from the start, be incentivized to kick tail. You know what I mean?
Surpass somebody else who's already been there.
Exactly. And then, because when, like, just think about it. Think about the way that you operate. You operate on, risk reward and things of that nature. Everybody does. We all do. And if there's an incentive, and it doesn't need to be anything crazy or like profound, but if there's some sort of an incentive where it's like, that's why companies, they have like the employee of the month or whatever it is, but if there's some incentive to wake up, kick tail, who knows what that could bring, It's just like anything. It could stem into a whole nother thing. You could be a consultation by clutch. You know what I mean? Like how to do it.
I don't know that I want to operate a hectic environment like that.
Yeah.
Where these like 16-year-olds are fearing for their career.
Like faster. What do you mean? It took you 2 seconds to get to that thing. It should only taken you 1. What's wrong with you?
There's plenty of places they could work that would be like that, and I don't want to be that place.
For sure. I mean, I wonder if there was just a crafty way to do it. I don't know. It's just something. Look, you know me. I'm always trying to think of some way to improve something somehow.
Yeah.
But
so who are you gonna have on the next episode?
I really don't know. Like I said, I mean, this thing on the bottom left, this bricksblurb, I'm actually very, very proud of it. It took me forever. It took me all day to do it and then to figure out like how to get it there. Just the past few days, I've been having conversations with like people that I know but I don't see because I live in an area that I didn't grow up. And I don't know if you know kind of what that's like, but it's, you get older, you move to a different state. And a lot of my buddies, I just haven't seen them in a while. So I haven't been practicing on how to use this thing that we're using here to, we're having video chats and just kind of playing around.
I wish I did know what that was like. Unfortunately,
yeah.
Aside from living a little bit away for a few years, I'm right where I grew up.
Yeah.
Not that I know anyone here. Like
right.
every time I burn bridges every chance I get.
Oh no.
Every time my life has changed, I've completely shut out what it was before that.
Yeah.
It's just what I do.
I have a tendency to do that as well.
So I am one town over from the town I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
The same people are here, but I don't know anyone here. But I feel like I'm missing something in that I never uprooted and went somewhere completely different.
Yeah.
Because there's this like romantic appeal in my head to the idea of just at some point in your life throwing away geographically everything that you knew and going somewhere else and being like, I'm a new person, this is a new area, everything's new.
Yeah. I've
never had the opportunity to do it.
Yeah. I mean, my story just ended up this way. Like, in my mid-20s, I was in a hotel 300 days a year, and all my, I was effectively homeless because, my career, I was building a company and I was traveling a lot. And all my buddies, I come from a small town. I come from a smallish town in Connecticut. And all my buddies, when I was just running around hustling, grinding, I knew where they were going to be on Thursday night and what they were talking about. It became something like that where I started getting disconnected. And then I was doing work in Philadelphia and New York, and I wanted to find somewhere in the middle. And then I, got married, had a kid. So it's like, that's basically, but I know nowhere around here. Like, I still have to Google Maps to get to places because I don't know the roads. Because even when I moved here, I was still traveling quite a bit where I wasn't necessarily. So it's kind of a strange thing. It's a gift and a curse. If you have family, that's always good, especially with like what we just went through. Like, my wife, her mom comes over all the time, stuff like that. But it's definitely, I guess it sounds romantic, just like what you were saying, because it's like, sometimes it feels like when you're there where you grew up and all your buddies that went to college and went to go be doctors or lawyers or whatever, they're all like, they all left, no matter where you are, whatever city, even if you're from New York or anything like that. It seems like, and then when you look around in like your mid-20s and early 30s, you're like, man, I feel like a leftover. You know what I mean? And I know that feeling, but it's
No, I get that completely, because it wasn't my buddies. It was my family.
Oh, your family left you?
When I went to college, I'm the only one in my family in this state now.
Oh no!
So
they
like,
bailed on you. So you burnt that bridge. They're like, he's out there, let's go.
No, I didn't. I don't think I burned that bridge, but I don't want to say I got left behind because I was living on my own, but I feel like the leftovers. Yeah.
Yeah, but look, you're doing all right. I mean, so during this time that we just had this past year or whatever, how far away are they? Your family?
My dad is, let's say 45 minutes away. I actually don't know where he lives right now. And that sounds strange, but
where are you?
He's moved like 4 times in the last 6 years or so.
Is he running from the feds or what?
I don't know. He was in 2 spots just inside of New Jersey.
Okay.
And then after that he's been in 2 spots just inside of PA. So he's in PA now technically, but like right on the river.
Yeah.
He's on maybe. I don't know when the last time I saw him was.
Wow.
Well, with a year like 2020, like you could say like I haven't seen him in a year, and at this point that's not a big deal.
That's not a big deal, yeah.
But it might be like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then my mom lives in New York State, like 2 to 3 hours away from here.
Okay. So like Westchester, or like Hudson Valley area.
Hudson Valley.
Yeah. How did I pin that? I've been all over that place. Hudson on Crowin or something like that.
She's in the Poughkeepsie area.
Yeah. It's a nice area. Super nice area.
And then I've got a grandfather in Maryland, nice. And some other relatives in Maryland, and that's it.
Nice. Maryland has always been nice. I mean, I've been there twice. Maryland's pretty nice. Virginia's pretty nice.
I've been there twice. That's that's like I've been to California twice, but saying I've been to Maryland twice from somebody who's in Pennsylvania is just kind of strange.
I'm not from here though. That's the thing. It's so weird. I don't know why, dude.
No, you're still like Connecticut to Maryland is still less distance than like California to California.
I gotta tell you, it's so weird though, because Connecticut is like, it's like New England. Connecticut people in Connecticut don't leave Connecticut until there was like a mass exodus in like the mid 2000s when people were just scrambling out of Connecticut. But it's one of those places where it's like, you know, it's like New England. Everyone thinks everyone's rich, but it's not really no different than anywhere else. And people don't leave. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's very weird. It's like,
I've been to Maryland a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would think so because your mother lives there, right? Or I'm sorry.
My dad's family is are they all? Yeah, I guess they're all in Maryland.
So, Bricks on the Dollar, Maryland edition. You're gonna move out there. Probably
Living's easy.
Yeah. Yeah, for guests, I don't know. I'd like to have the guy from Brick Freedom, Steve from Brick Freedom. I'd like to just chit chat with him. I think that's really all that I have on mind. But I'm thinking, you know, I obviously want to have like a Lego related because it's really, I spend a lot of time doing it. But I kind of like just talking. I like talking. I like talking to people.
My hat's off to you for trying a Lego podcast. You get in what you get out what you put in. I don't put in much into mine. I don't get much out of mine.
Yeah.
If you're committed to finding guests, then so you shall.
Yeah.
If you just want to turn up every week and have a good time like me, it's not that easy.
I mean, look, this is coming from a guy, I don't know how to do any of this stuff. I mean, the first time for me using this platform is from my first episode with you on episode 159. And, you know, I just find it fun. And, you know, I had that podcast, there's this thing called The Brick Down, you know, based around like a Lego video game with another person that I never met in person. You know, the guy lives in like Utah, you know, and it's like, it's just fun. And I learn a lot. And I think it's like, it's very fulfilling for me to do this. And I don't know, you know, I feel like it's forcing me to have accountability to get off my duff and actually like learn some stuff, you know, like you can learn everything on the internet. I mean, this is what it is. So
just don't get sucked into what you've hyped being in these conversations up to when it comes to not doing BrickLink or pushing your store forward in that same time.
Yeah, I mean,
you can make like, all the vlogs you want about how you added parts to your store today, but you could also be adding more parts to your store.
Of course. No, I get it. Like, and I see that because I'm critical of that too. I mean, I've said it many times. It's like, oh wow, these guys have really good videos and they have 17 orders for the past month or whatever. It just doesn't make sense. But you know, I get that too, but this for me is like low impact. Like I don't have the desire to do a lot of editing. I don't know how to do it.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know how to do a lot of the stuff. And like I said, I mean, something that takes, you know, this thing over here that took me pretty much all day to put together. Someone could have whipped that up in 5-10 minutes probably. It took me basically all day.
Yeah, the worst part for me would be because you had to make the overlay where it's all the way in the corner because it's going to overlay it over the whole screen versus you can't just say, put it in the corner on StreamYard. It had to be a big thing with a bunch of blank the rest of the screen. Yeah. And then you'd have to see that its size is right.
The other thing about it too is just aside from being kind of low impact and very
graphic designers are just rolling their eyes right now.
What is it? Graphic designer? Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like
good. Listen, I told you.
Don't you know how many pixels wide that is? Come on, guy.
My channel is not good by any means necessary, and I don't really need it to be. But what it is, I find it interesting because if I keep at this, it's giving, you know, it's just like this. It's like, why would someone that wants to do well and get fit, why would they get a personal trainer? I mean, it's a bunch of money, it's a this and a that, and it's all this nonsense. My belief is because accountability. When you have someone that is basically knows a lot more about the thing than you do, and you have a goal to do and be better. If there's someone there that's like, hey John, you didn't wake up at 5 o'clock today, I was still sitting there over here waiting, you're gonna wake up at 5 o'clock. It's just purely not to let somebody down. And when you have that kind of accountability, it gives you a different kind of process to get the job done. And that's what this is kind of to me. And also the skill building. It's like, I can say all day, like, I don't know a lot about a lot of stuff, but I know that there's a possibility to like learn how to do it. And if you put in the time, effort, and energy and show up, you could probably, surprise yourself. And it's the same thing with this store behind me. It's like, look, I never stumbled upon this. I didn't make this stuff up on my own. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't make up these drawers. I didn't make up the process and how to do it. I learned it DIY on the way, but at the end of the day, it was because of the internet. You know what I mean? It's like, you could do basically whatever you want. So I'm going to give it a stab. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I know this.
I only wound up buying stack-ons because they were available at Kmart.
Yeah.
And now neither Stack-On nor Kmart is around anymore. But I bought Stack-Ons because they were cheap enough, and Kmart always had like 3 or 4 of them. As I was grassroots, I was never the store I am now, but I was never the store where I wanted to buy 20 of them, 50 of them at a time. I just like, all right, one more. All right, one more.
Yep.
Just every week or whatever. Got more parts, need more drawers.
What were you paying for the Stack-On, like the 64?
At when times were good and they were at Kmart, the 60s were like $18 and the 18s were like $16 maybe, something like that. They were both under 20.
Yeah, they're $30 now. These are $30.
Yeah, I get the Ace Hardware ones, which are the same footprint as the Stack-Ons.
Mm-hmm.
So they hang on my walls the same way. Same spacing, same everything.
Mm-hmm.
But they're currently being made, and that's a positive thing.
Right.
There's only so many out-of-business BrickLink stores who have Stack-Ons that could sell you before there are no more.
Right. Yeah, it's I always like to see people's stuff when they have like the walls and they're like all different colors. Like there's a red one and this one and that one. It's like, wow, that guy's been at it, buying them used or whatever. Or like, you see them all over the place when you're looking for them. But
yeah, when Lowe's used to have Stack-On as well, all of their cabinets were blue, same clear drawers, but the cabinet itself was blue instead of this light gray. So I've got like 2 or 3 blue ones just mixed in. I didn't buy any at Lowe's. Those were all used ones I got. But there's 2 or 3 blue ones if you look closely enough.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Look, I don't know where this is going to go. I mean, I think this episode is pretty good. I mean, I really can't thank you enough. I mean, for, it just, you've been good to me. It's always fun on your show. We always have a good goof. And, when I look back on these things, it's like, again, lost opportunity. I wish I've been doing this for years. It's the same thing. I wish I was doing the BrickLink thing for, 11 years also, 12 years. How many months?
135.
135 months.
That's how many months that I've paid fees on BrickLink, to be specific.
Yeah, we looked at that before, and it's super interesting, the whole process. And my whole thing too is it's like, the moment I had a kid is the moment that I realized, like, wow, when my kid's 18, I'm going to be 50. Jeez. So then I'm like, okay, so then time becomes different when you get older. I'm sure you can attest to this. Like, the older you get, time becomes different. Like, past, it becomes different. The present, every 2 years, you think about the present differently because you're in a different kind of state of mind and, like, the growth and the things that are going on. Like, I firmly believe every 2 years, you think about the way that you thought 2 years ago, or even the way that you carried yourself. It was a totally different thing, or the things that you were interested in. It changes so much. And my whole thing is, like, for the future, And it's like, if there's going to be a library, I would much rather just have it just chit-chatting and talking, because there's so much like how to this and how to that. I can't provide any value there. I can't have a highly produced video and talk about how to number drawers with a Dymo thing. You know what I mean? I just can't do it. Or like the best way to number drawers, or all the stuff that there's, you know what I'm saying? There's just so much.
I definitely had a video where I was just numbering drawers,
Yeah.
and it wasn't a how-to. It was like I'm gonna turn the camera on, and you're gonna watch it because you watch my videos,
Right.
and I'm gonna make 10 cents just because the camera was on.
Yeah.
I was gonna label these drawers either way.
Right.
Don't get offended, but
Right.
I definitely had that video at one point.
No, I mean, I don't have any like monetary goals. I don't have any dreams to be a YouTuber. I have no dreams to be a podcaster. I really enjoy doing this. I learn a lot. You know, in my day-to-day career, being a sales manager professional, I mean, I have to have the art of being able to have a conversation with somebody and be semi-interesting. So, you know, it's all a test. My goal is to basically be consistent and just show up. That's my goal, and to learn some stuff along the way, and hopefully provide value to whoever's watching. So, you know, that's really what this is.
I need to figure out how I'm gonna break into this, start building it, and commit myself to this. I mean, as soon as I open it, I'm committed. But I don't know, because Lego makes it easy with the numbered bags.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I just do one bag
Sessions.
On the show.
Yeah.
I don't. It's kind of too distracting to build while doing the show. But if I do one bag for the show, like either before or after or something like that every week, and you get to see it one bag at a time every week on the show, maybe that's something.
You know what's been cool is, I think it's Beyond the Brick. They do that, like, this Lego set's building itself. I don't know if you've seen it. They do the stop motion with it. Basically, they build it in stop motion.
Oh, I'm
cool.
familiar. It's
pretty cool.
Whatever you can do to get like 6-year-olds to not leave YouTube for days on end. That's all it is.
Oh, okay. I mean, you did an interview. See, I pulled up some of your old stuff, you know, and it's like, I think I had this conversation with you, the interview that you had with the guys over there on Beyond the Brick.
Yeah, I mean, that was a completely different rendition of Beyond the Brick, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was way before what it is today. That's what I'm saying. Like, you are an OG to this thing. You know what I mean? And that's why it's like, and I don't think you necessarily understand it, you know, because every time I say it to you, you know, it kind of sinks in, but I don't know if you really get it, or I don't know if people give you credit. You know, I think everybody deserves a little bit of credit every now and then. And, you know, you will forever be episode 1 on bricksblurb.
Yes.
You know, it was a good one. It was a really good one. But I'd like to have people on. I'd like to have random people on, even if it's like, you know, someone that doesn't mind just chit chatting about Lego. Some person, you know, doesn't matter. You know, I think it's just a nice little fun thing.
That's great for different perspectives. We've tried to do that on building up to it with just people you wouldn't expect because their perspective's a little bit different, but you can still talk about a common subject. Yeah.
I mean, if you believe that there's an interesting conversation, you know, hit me up. I mean, really, it's that there's no value. There's no value in not doing it, you know, and that's what really this is for me. This is kind of like, okay, I want to do more, and I want to work a little harder in a different thought pattern, without necessarily, like, I don't want to edit videos. I just don't have the wherewithal to do it. I don't know how. Like I said, I just don't. But this, I can wrap my head around, and it's fun. I really like it. I really do. And if you are watching it right now at this point, just like and subscribe, and hit me up if you want to chit chat. But yeah, bricksblurb is the name that I came up with because I was like, I was thinking like call it the Bricksblurb show, but it just didn't seem right to me. So I was like, let's figure out what's going on here, and Then I'm like, bird nest, and I'm like, that's weird. And then I was like, bricksblurb, and I'm like,
The bird gang.
That's kind of bird gang. Tweet tweet. We could have like do one of these. But
Birds.
birds, the birds, birds the blurb.
Go birds.
Go blurbs. Go blurbs. Dude, hockey, they're not doing too much hockey this year. That's the only really sport that I like to watch.
I just like saying go birds.
Yeah.
The only sport I like is saying go birds.
Yeah. I mean, you're a hockey fan?
No, I'm not a sports fan. I just like saying go birds.
I'm not a sports fan, but I like hockey because it's dangerous. Super dangerous. I mean, you're running around. You have weapons on your feet. You have a weapon in your hand, and you're going at fast speeds, whipping around a weapon and running into other people like it's a good time. That's savage.
Yeah.
And every time you go to a hockey game, that's not like the NHL or whatever. From what I know, I've never been to an NHL game. But when you go to a hockey game, that's like kind of like the farm team or the AAA or whatever it is. They're always fighting, which is super interesting because they all have beef with each other. And then there's always a guy on the team that he's not really the best hockey player in the world, but
he's there to fight.
He's the fight guy. You know what I mean? Like he's the enforcer.
How are you gonna get out of here, man? You don't have Paul.
What's
the
that?
key. He's the key to ending episodes.
How do you get out of here? I don't understand. Like, what is the? So explain to me, like, Paul, get us out of here. Whatever it is that you guys do with that.
Well, Paul's got this practiced and perfect outro speech that he gives. So when he's on the show, he does that. When he's not on the show, we make a joke of asking him to get us out of the show, even though he's not there. And then after I've asked him to get us out of the show, I just end the show.
Okay, so I'm going to have
the
you
joke.
ask Paul to get us out of the show. Is there anything you have to say before you ask Paul to get us out of the show? I mean, I have one more thing. It always turns into this. One more thing. Yeah, this is a good time. And the bricksblurb. I'm going to make something of this. I never in my life said the word bricksblurb before until today. Probably about 4 hours ago.
I've had that a lot lately where I've only ever read something and then I'll say it out loud for the first time. And it's so strange because I've never actually said it out loud, but I've said it in my head so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that happened to you.
Oh, it's a weird one, but I'm committed now. bricksblurb.
Yeah, you can't. You said it, and it's on the screen. You can't take it back now.
There's no takebacks on this one. I don't mind it. I think it's pretty cool. It gets the job done. It's a little tongue twister. Maybe what we'll do is you have to say it 6 times fast, and then, Paul can sign us off of this thing.
Yeah, pass. Get us out of here, Paul.
Yeah, get us out of here, Paul. See ya. Hey, good episode, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Man.
I tell you, it doesn't cut immediately. Just a few